Okay. All right, everybody. Hello. Sorry I'm late. I got tangled up with some technical difficulties again, but I'm coming to you once again from Paradise, Kentucky. I'm still trying to get myself set up here so I can do my script reading. Try to have a script ready. Clariforia and I put this together today, and here we are. Thank you, Clariforia. You're more welcome to jump in here and give me your comments. How's everybody doing? Everybody doing good? Somebody send me a message and say hello. Tell me where you're at and what you're doing. All right. Warm welcome to the audience. You know why we're here? We're a community of like-minded people with common interests in hunting, fishing, protecting our community, culture, families, and environment. We exchange ideas, resources, and information. Hey, I invite y'all to share some of your, I know deer season, bow seasons out there going on right now. I'd like to hear from some of you bow hunters. I think the deer rifle season is coming up real soon. Yeah, October, sometime in October. Y'all let me know what the dates are exactly. I'm on the road here and trying to figure some of this stuff out. Don't have my information right in front of me. But no matter who you are, where you're at, you're welcome to the community. Now, this is the Rabun County Rag. This is where we get together and we talk about family, culture. We talk about our environment. We talk about all kinds of, hunting, fishing, trapping. We also, we want to be a community of people that are sharing and caring and help each other out and get together for fun times and to come together as people who care for the land, the water, the families, and heritage. So we'll go ahead and get started. If you wander in or just stopping by, give me a message. Send me a chat, and let's talk about who you are, where you're at, and all that kind of stuff. Rabun County is in the very northeast corner. Well, I got a toilet. Y'all forgive me about all the noise going on in there in the restroom. See if I can get myself up on the line here. Y'all touch bases with me and let me know what's going on with everybody. Switch count. And let's see what we got going on. Man, I wonder what's going on. View channel. All right, live. I think I'm broadcasting live. We'll see. Let's go to here. Raven. There we go. Now we're talking. I'm seeing myself pop up on there. That'd be good news. As we scroll along, hope everybody's doing well out there. Y'all let me know what's going on. I know some of y'all know me out there in the community. Been doing this for quite a while now, and I'm going to continue to do it. I don't know what just happened. I'm not sure what happened here, but There we go. All right. Maybe I'll just get one viewer tonight. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the audience. We're just now getting things rolling this evening, and we do this every Thursday night. Every Thursday night from 6 till 7 o'clock on Eastern time. And I'm over here in Central time, so it's actually just now 5 o'clock. And fortunately, like last week, I was able to get out of the job a little early. Ran into a couple hiccups getting this live stream going. But we're here now and we're talking. So I'd like to hear some stories, some shared stories about what's going on in your part of the county. How's your fishing been? How's the life in your county? Is our touristy friends, are they watching? Are they being good neighbors, or are they coming in and treating your property and your community well? I hadn't been there in a while. I'll be home now. Tomorrow I'm going, like I said, I worked all day today, and boy, it was a long, hard day, and this is their weekend to go away, and they are headed out. They're done. And I thought I was going to get out of here last week and be home, but instead I had to come back and do one more week. But here I am. Getting ready to roll up out of here in the morning. I'll finish this live stream up and be on my way in the morning, pack up my stuff and get the fool up out of here and ready to head back to head back to Georgia, out of Paradise, Kentucky. Been working with a great bunch of guys, doing some asbestos abatement on a power plant, a TVA power plant, and I think this is my fifth week up here, and then a week before that doing some training in Spartanburg. Well, I guess how's that old bluegrass song go? I'm a freeborn man, so I'm rolling out of here in the morning as soon as I get packed up, try to catch a little breakfast. I'll be up early and be ready to roll that way. Can't wait to get caught back up. I did read the newspaper today. There's a couple of things, but let's talk about the hunting season first. We got started on that. Archery season is now open through January 11th, 2026, and that's statewide in Georgia. Primitive weapons and youth firearms, that opens on October the 11th, so a couple more weeks. Not this Saturday, not next Saturday, but the Saturday after that. Y'all excuse me, it's been a rushing day. And opening day for firearms is October the 18th and runs through January the 11th. So now there's some extended archery in the state of Georgia. Select counties carry through January 31st. Now, there's some bear hunting opportunities. The archery season for bears open right now. I don't know. I'm not sure how I'd feel about hunting a darn bear with I don't know, bow and arrow and a bear. That sounds just a little too risky for this old fat dude. Some of you younger fellows, I guess, from a tree stand or something could manage it. Now there's I hadn't seen a bear around the place in a while. I imagine they'll start poking around here before long when the weather starts cooling off and all them mushrooms start disappearing. They get their belly full of acorns and trying to get ready for that winter's nap, and they'll be creeping around the house there pretty soon. If you're interested in that old bear meat, now I don't want no trophy kills. If you're gonna kill it, trophy is fine, but I also want to be assured that you're going to take care of the meat too. I want to make sure that the meat goes to good use. And if you want to share some of that with me, I'll take some of it. Now my freezer's pretty stocked. I'll take a few pounds of bear meat if you want to come. And I got a son-in-law who works the darn place, and he ain't really expressed no interest in it. Now I've got a couple hogs he says he'd like to get shed of, but he hadn't found anybody who wants to enjoy the meat. So we're still working on that. I think there's some benefit, financial benefit in the state of Georgia if you hunt them bear. If you know anything about that, y'all let me know. Trying to get myself in focus. Y'all let me know if I'm in focus. That's out of focus. That's out of focus. That looks pretty good. I'll leave it right there. If y'all want to have an image of Pleurophoria, she's over my, what shoulder is that? Left shoulder there. She has decided to make an image of herself as Hillbilly Pilifloria. And I thought it was rather cute. Got the Foxfire book in her arm there and carries the Lantern of Enlightenment, and has a keychain around her neck there with the key, I guess, to or a knife or whatever. I think she wrote up what she decided to put on herself, but she's taken herself from a Neo-Grecian goddess to a goddess of a hillbilly there. Got a little puppy dog there. I couldn't help myself but to publish her and let everybody see what she thought of herself. I just made her an assistant and give her free reign to help me any way she thinks is a good ideas. And now I can't blame any failure on her. That's all on me. But when we get successful here on this, when we get successful with this live stream, I will credit her because she helps me a great deal. Anyway, we was talking about hunting. Let's get back to that. Now, firearm season runs through October 18th, from October 18th through January 11th. There will be some good deer hunting out there. I can't wait to get back. If y'all give me a report. Somebody give me a report. And let me know if you're a bow hunter, how your season is going. I'm really interested. Anyway, well, didn't mean to do that. What channel am I on? I just closed it out altogether. Close everything. Let me try again. Go to here. And then I'm going to switch count. Somebody sent me a message. There we go. Back on here. I'm monitoring the channel on another device just to make sure I'm getting out there. I've had so few responses. Did have a couple of responses last week, and we'll talk about that later on. Now, statewide trapping season for most fur bearers, and now this is on public land. Public land is from December 1st through February 58. And on private land, coyote, beaver, raccoon, opossum have no closed season. Bobcat and otter require federal tags if exported. By law, traps must be checked every 24 hours. Make sure you use a ethical dispatch and get out there and check as often as you can. And if you got something trapped, go ahead and dispatch it. I'd like to know what the prices are for pelts of these various animals. I got some coyotes that could probably use a little thinning out up there where I'm at. They chasing down my turkeys and my rabbits. I'd like to keep a few more, both of those around, and if that means taking down the population, I don't want to eliminate the population. I'm not that kind of guy that wants to wipe out every living thing around him. But I believe in a proper balance. And then I've seen a couple of them coyotes, and they looking kind of thin and measly. They probably getting overcrowded a little bit. So I wouldn't mind if somebody wanted to get in touch with me and get some clues on how to shoot a coyote. I'm sure that those hides got a little bit of value to them. I'm not sure what it is, but anyway, that's about all I got for the hunting and trapping season. Send me a comment and let me know. Oh, man. Send me a comment and let me know. There we go. There we go. Anyway, rolling right along. The fishing is starting to change a little bit. You know, the water, I'd imagine when the sun's kind of backs off on its regular trip across the sky, that we're going to see some changes in the hunting and trapping. I had a bad device today. Another cord, man. Last week I had a bad USB cord go out. Now I got another one going out. I guess that's what happens when I'm traveling on the road and I'm using all these other devices, you know, when I do my recordings and all that, and I'm plugging and unplugging this darn computer more than it normally does, and bending and unbending cords, and I'm sure they're going a little bad. But anyway, that was part of the delay early on. Anyway, we were talking about fishing. Producing good topwater bites early in the morning on rocky points. Catfish on Lake Burton and hitting deep on cut bait and chicken liver. Trout, the Tallulah River is cold, clear, and steady. Great fly action this week. Somebody sent me a joke. Says, you know, some hunters spend all season chasing the perfect buck. Others spend all season perfecting their tree sitting posture. If tree sitting was an Olympic sport, some of them old boys in Rabun County would take home the gold. As long as we're on safety, let's make sure that that we're safe hunters out there. Make sure that we're safe in all our hunt, and know your target and what's beyond it. I know the old buck fever can get on you pretty hard, but please, you know, be wary of what's behind it. I think it was old, who was that? Some old famous guy said, what did he say? Make sure you're right and then go ahead. So make sure you're right and then go ahead. Oh, what we got there? Make sure you're right, and then go ahead. All right. Well, there we go. Anyway, that's the way we do things. Who was it that said that? Was it wasn't Daniel Boone? Davy Crockett. David Crockett. I'm sure there's a statue somewhere where he's talking to a young man taking his first shots with a rifle, and he's saying, make sure, and then go ahead. And then the other famous saying that I like to use a lot was in The Patriot, when Mel Gibson taught his boys, is aim small, shoot small. Aim small, shoot small. That's a good philosophy. Moving along, make sure you're wearing your hunter's orange during firearm season. Hat, vest, I think it's 500 square inches. I'm not sure what the requirements are for wearing high vis orange when you're in the field. Now, deer are colorblind. We know that through studies. So they detect you through the sound and smell before they'll detect you through vision. As long as you move slowly or move as little as possible, they won't catch you. And as long as you stay hidden in the foliage or in the timber and try and blend in. So when you're walking about and you're doing your hunting, if you're stalking, just remember to move slowly and watch your footsteps and try and maintain cover behind the trees or whatnot. I used to be a big hunter, but I don't do it much anymore. But I do enjoy the sport, and I like to talk about it, see how people are doing. Old collar beat out in this old hot weather. It's still hot here in Kentucky. We got a lot of rain today too. I heard we getting some at home earlier today. Oh, boys and girls, I tell you, I can't wait to get home. I got some stuff to do around the house. I got to get that old son-in-law, see if he's got some time in his schedule, if he needs some stuff to done. Anyway, we still talking about hunting. Don't wait to get in the field, start checking your gear. Go ahead and zero your rifle, check your scope, check the strings on your bow, make sure everything's safe and ready to go. Make sure your broadheads are good and sharp before you get in the field. You want to get out there and be productive in the field, not sitting on the tailgate of the truck fumbling around with something. Lord knows I've done that enough in my past. So make sure you're ready. Now, some old boys back there in the county, I know they've been out and establishing their hunting, where they're going to be hunting at, establishing zones of fire and firing lanes and all that stuff, especially if you were friends. Make sure when you go out with your friends, that y'all know where each other's located, and make sure you maintain a safe shooting zone around each other. It would be a terrible thing for somebody to get wounded or hurt real bad out there in the field. It's panic mode is a horrible thing. Communicate well, communicate often. Make sure you share your plan. Tell your wife, your loved ones, your girlfriend, your mama, your daddy, whoever. Tell them where you're going to go hunting at, how long you're going to be home, and when you're going to return. So that if you're running late, they know to send the rescue party out to either retrieve you out of the woods if you got lost, or help you drag your quarry out of the woods, or render any other type of aid as needed. But do that. Make sure that you let somebody know. Let somebody know. Anyway, and alcohol and drugs, it should go without saying. that we shouldn't ever mix hunting with alcohol. Now, I know back in the day when I was a younger man that was, matter of fact, one time I had about, I don't know, 4 or 5 cases of beer. There's a bunch of us out there hunting, sit around the fire, shoot shit and tell lies and all that stuff. And I got there with it. When I was in the store, I was buying that beer. And I bought one of them little packs of Lance crackers, the little cellophanes you open up. I bought a pack of them. I guess there's a dozen of them in there. And I got there and they was ready for me because I was the beer boy. And they got there and the old boy looked in there and saw that pack of them Lance crackers. And first thing out of his mouth was, "What are we going to do with all this food?" I said, "Son, I just thought you might get hungry." Anyway, Rabun County is a wonderful place. Man, that darn road construction is going on that highway runs right. What is that? 441, 23, whatever it is. For years and years and years, people was whining, when they going to widen the road? When they going to widen the road? Now they started widening the road, and all you hear is, when are they going to finish widening the road? When you going to finish widening the road? And I talked about it last week. I'm afraid some of us is going to be sorely disappointed in the end results of that 4-lane highway running up there through Tallulah Falls into, what is that, Hollywood and Clayton, and then on up in the Dillard, Mountain City, Dillard, on up into North Carolina there. They're going to turn that thing into a darn freeway. You think people was complaining about the tickets in that Tallulah Falls? You wait and see. You see what kind of speeds folks are going to attempt on that stretch between Clayton and Franklin, North Carolina. They're on their way to a good time up there in the hills of Gatlinburg and Dollywood. Well, I think they call that Dollywood. Pigeon Forge. That's what Dolly's place is called, Pigeon Forge. They trying to make time, man. They don't want to stop by. Now, some of them now, Clayton as a destination is a fine thing, and I appreciate the growth of the small business is a destination place, and there's a bunch of nice restaurants there in town. I don't think it's made for the locals. It was like at one point going up to what was the name of that place? The Dillard House. I first moved up there in up in Clayton, and everybody went to the Dillard House a time or two on a couple of weekends, got to thinking, man, that's a lot of money for a whole bunch of, they had a nice restaurant and you could get nice scenery and all that. And then it got to where I would just take family and visitors up there. But as far as visiting, and that's the way it is with the other restaurants in town. Some people might want to go enjoy a sit down dinner, but, I'm just the kind of guy just rather go to the old Clayton Cafe, where you go in there and get some biscuits and gravy and a cup of coffee and enjoy the company and enjoy that atmosphere rather than the atmosphere they're trying to establish with destination people, the leaf peepers and the people who come up. There's a lot of people, and I'm not being down, I'm not being critical. It's just the way it is. And I've watched small towns like Helen and Dahlonega, Asheville, Knoxville, all those towns that just used to be a real pleasure to go and visit. And now they're just they're metropolises, I read an interesting story about the electrification of Rabun County. It's kind of interesting story. And Thomas Roan flipped the switch on Stokoa Creek, lighting up the Clayton for the first time. By September 15th, 1914, 10 homes were glowing with electric light. Could you imagine that? I bet they wasn't no more than 10 homes in Clayton back then. I know there was more than that, but boy, don't you know that was a special time. That's kind of like us on the other side of the railroad tracks there. Well, not railroad tracks, other side of 441 on the east side, waiting to get internet. Yeah, back then you was lucky to get enough juice to run one light bulb, and now you feel lucky if you get 3 or 4 megabytes download so you can try and stream something. Uploading something, you forget it, buddy. You forget it. Not on the east side, it ain't happening. If you got to upload a 5-minute video, it's like it's a good 6, 7, 8 hour ordeal. Thank God for Starlink. Now I think I can upload a couple videos, and well, actually, maybe 13 to 16 minutes of video every week, and that takes about an hour. So thank you, Elon, man. I appreciate it. You don't have to have a huge infrastructure around your darn property to bring in that old Wi-Fi. I mean, that satellite internet with, you know, I don't know if any of y'all had that Windstream business. Boy, that was a nightmare. And then it turned into, what's that other one that Windstream rebranded themselves, trying to do, you know, make it look better or whatever. It was just a new name. The other outfit went bankrupt, and somebody else decided they wanted to collect that federal money for rural internet service, and that was just the same thing as some of that solar business or green energy business. They getting big government contracts and don't perform, paying themselves out big money and disappearing into the woodwork. That was the way that that old rural internet deal is working. It's the same. They're trying it again. They're gonna beat the fool out of it. Gonna tax us all to try to give us promises something good, and then they don't promise us anything good, and we never get the tax money back. They just jack up the prices and make some more fat cats in the bureaucracies. Anyway, I keep telling myself I ought not talk about that kind of stuff, but I do it every time. It just upsets the fool. My power bill has gone up 60%. 60% for the same kilowatt hours. I never forget first time that old lady went on there and said, well, we've had, she worked for the power company. She stepped right in that. She said, well, you know, we've had a lot of cold weather. And I was like, lady, we had the same cold weather last year. I don't want to hear none. And about 50 people jumped in there with her or with me. And so I told her that we thought that was a false statement. Anyway, all she knows is what the power company tells her. And that's the talking point. You know, we had a lot of power outages this year. We had to do a lot of changing. We had to come in and improve infrastructure all over the state. The 60% power increase all over the state. All you what do you call them? Data centers. All you data centers, you're welcome. You get 60%. We had a 60% power increase, so y'all can get the energy to turn around and sell us AI, right? Another situation of governmental support. Anyway, but think about that old boy in 1914 when they turned on them 10 houses with electricity. You know, that was a big talk of the town. Just imagine that first night, the mountain cabins shining like fireflies across the hillside. I can just imagine that. Of course, I bet about half the neighbors hollered, turn that thing off, it's burning daylight. You know, it was a new thing, man. Back then they had gasoline-powered washing machines. Had old motor on it, you kick that thing and it'd get to jostling them clothes around in the bucket. And people had them on the back porch and they had the wringer, you know, the 2 rollers and wring that stuff out. And then mom would go out there and hang them on Anyway, there's old boy on there. Where did I see him at? Thing called Musty One. He rebuilt one of those things, those kick-started single lung washing machine motors. And who else was it? Another old boy. He, Hand Tool Rescue, and I enjoy this guy for some reason, but he rebuilt one of them old washing machines and showed us how it worked. I tell you what, that was enjoyment watching that old boy work. And that's another thing, man. I finally got that disc from that Harrow disc, and I can't wait to get home. I'm going to take that by the shop, welding shop, and see if they can't set me up on that thing. Unless somebody wants to be my friend and got a little scrap laying around and weld up that hole and bend me some. I got some rebar. Somebody want to help me build up that, they call it in Spanish, it is called a discada. It's a implement used for cooking on the fire. I can't wait to get back. I might make a video and post part of that on here, just for shoots and giggles. Y'all send me a message. Somebody say, hey, that's a good idea. I'd like to see you do that. Or if you got a welder and want to help me out, weld this thing up and get it going and make a video with me, man, I'd love to be a part. I'd love for you to be a part. I'm still belching, boy. I've been on the road here, and normally in the mornings they open up the breakfast here in the hotel at 5:30, and I'll grab something and shove it in some coffee cups and take it to work with me and start eating about lunchtime. But they were out today. They just didn't have it today. I guess the truck didn't come, the same old stuff. And so I had to go out for lunch today, and they got this little old gas station, and they're run by some kind of Asian, Indian, I guess. I would be my best guess just by looking at them and talking with them. And boy, they had some old spicy chicken tenders in there, and some potato boats, and fried green tomatoes. I saw them fried green tomatoes. I said, uh-oh. I gotta have me some of them, boy. So I gotta order them fried green tomatoes and, I don't know, 3 or 4 potato boats and a couple of them old chicken tenders. And I've been paying the price. I can't wait to see what's going to happen as soon as it runs all the way through my digestive system, that old fried food. I'm not really accustomed to that anymore, but I was hungry and it was a pleasure. Sucked down a big old Diet Coke. I think that was my second Diet Coke in 2 weeks. So I don't even drink much of that. But anyway, got a lot of fall activities kicking off in Rabun County. This weekend, we've got the North Georgia Highland Games, and that's on Saturday, 27 September at the Rabun Civic Center. It's got a caber toss, a hammer throw, bagpipes, axe throwing, chainsaw carving. A $20 donation supports Place of Hope, North Georgia. Hey, now this is something some of you old Georgia fans, which we've covered up with there in Clayton County, Rabun County, since the star quarterback of Georgia is a hometown boy. Got a big Alabama Georgia watch party there at the Tiger Drive-In. That's Saturday. Kickoff at 7:30. Adults is $10 and kids is $5. So take your tailgating stuff out there and park and enjoy I think that'd be a real wonderful time to go out there and enjoy that with your buddies, your fellow Georgia fans. I think that'd be a real fine thing to do, to go out there and hoot and holler out there in the mountains at the old timey drive-in. Anyway, check Clayton Tribune to get more information on that. Or if you want to send me a message, I'll find out what I can and send you what I read up on. But it's plain and simple. Everybody knows where the Tiger Drive-In is. I've been meaning to get me a darn Tiger Drive-In t-shirt. I ain't done it yet. Also now the Rabun County Health Department, some family-friendly activities. It's a children's dental expo. Guys, dental stuff has gotten so expensive. If you need to get your children to the dentist, take the time on the 7th, I believe. What day is the 7th? Let me look here. What day is the 7th? Let me move that thing out my way. The 7th, October the 7th, is on a Tuesday. Take your kids over there to the health department and get them teeth checked out, make sure they're good and healthy. And if they need some work, I'm sure it can be done at a pretty good cost savings to your parents. Go ahead and do that. And them babies need to have good teeth when they're growing up. And if you don't have them good, strong teeth with those baby teeth, it'll sure mess up their adult teeth when they come in. Make sure you're teaching your children how to properly. And mine ain't that pretty. Dang, they ugly, but I had them for 63 years. I'm sure that's what everybody wanted to see. A mouthful of Copenhagen polluted teeth. Oh, man. But anyway, like my dad would say, do as I say, not as I do. Now, October 17th, there's a fall business breakfast at the Dillard House with a keynote by the Chief Bradley Taylor. And that's On Patrol Live. What time is it? I'm getting hungry again. I got 10 more minutes. Anyway, just sitting here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and make a video about that discard, and I'm going to cook on it, and I'm going to share it with them old boys I've been learning that from. And I think, what am I going to make? Something with chilies. Let's see. Roast some jalapenos and some onions and some tomatoes and make a salsa out of that. And then I think I got some skirt steak in the freezer. Get some corn tortillas. And I think I'm going to have a big time with that. And I can't wait. Anyway, that fall business breakfast. Y'all try and make that. Get up there and make some business associate connections. I keep thinking about that electricity first hit Clayton. You know, I bet folks around Clayton didn't sleep for a week. Not because of the lights, but they kept flicking the switch on and off just to see if it still worked. You know, and another thing is, you know, a lot of us are fishermen. I saw an old story about an old boy caught a darn trout and swore it was this big, and trout was this big. By the time he told it at the cafe, that thing was big enough to dam up the Tallulah. Got just a few minutes left. Listen. Let's continue to talk about conservation, conserving, you know, these big money builders, and money ain't really worth that much anymore. I tell you what, you know, when you watch real money like gold go from $2,000 an ounce just a couple years ago to $3,700 an ounce today, something like that. And silver go from $25 an ounce a couple years ago to $45 an ounce today. That shows you that money is really getting weird. It's losing its value. And just because somebody comes around and wants to offer you big money for your property and it's pristine and you got plenty of wildlife, they ain't interested in all that. They're interested in making a buck. And if you got 100 acres, they're going to try and put 200 homes on it and overcharge people. You know what they're selling today. I ain't got to tell you nothing. Not only do they crowd out the wildlife with those tract homes, but they also damage the hydrology of the landscape, and the water ain't running right, and you're robbing your streams of fresh water, and then and then it affects the fishing in a negative way, affects the hunting in a negative way. So they sell the idea that it's a beautiful place to live, and which it is, don't get me wrong. They sell you that it's a beautiful place to live, okay? That's what they do. And then they come in and buy all this land up and crowd all these houses on it and destroy the very thing that they sold you on. So be wary of that. I'm really thankful that 70% of this county is national forest, and I hope it maintains that status or that percentage, because boy, it's just they'll destroy it. I believe Foxfire has something going on this weekend too, but Foxfire is an interesting place. And it's a community of artisans and people that concentrate on the importance of preserving traditions, anything from home canning to making your own furniture to keeping a house warm, blacksmithing, all kinds of those things. You think you may not need them someday, but I kind of think that we are going to need them someday. Being frugal, not only with our hard-earned resources, but in the way that we live, you know. And they've got these farm store places, and I haven't decided yet whether it's just another gimmick or whether it's a real movement, and whether people are taking advantage of an idea instead of exercising what really should be happening. But, I believe in a varied diet, and I try to keep the wildlife healthy around my place. I grow a garden every year, and I keep collards and turnip greens growing so that the deer will have something fresh and green to eat through the year. Plentiful squirrel, got a few rabbits around there, and I've seen 3 turkeys on the old homestead now. I'm kind of excited about that. I ain't seen no baby turkeys though. Now that would be the thing to have. Seeing old mama hen running around with about 5 or 6 little, what do you call them little turkeys? They got chicks. They called something else, I'm sure. But that'd be nice to see them running around out there. And I'm not opposed to eating any of it. I'm just comfortable where I'm at right now. But I ain't got my opinion of chicken has really gone downhill since I did that chicken plant demolition. I've done one before and it shook me off chicken for the longest time. Then I'd get to where I would eat it again. But I thought about that today when I was eating them chicken tenders. Now they was good, and he had them spiced up pretty good. So if there's any any foolishness. He had it covered up real well, but doggone it, man, if you smell a chicken slaughterhouse, it is one smell you will never forget. And it's just hard for me to eat factory grown chicken. Now, fresh chicken off the old stead there, you know, and get that old rooster and put him in the pot, and he's getting to be too much trouble, or a hen that has decided she can't lay no more. You know, if you get too many of them, I believe in butchering them, putting them in the freezer. I'm not opposed to that. They had a good life. You know, you fed them regularly. They gave you eggs, and anyway, back to traditions. Another tradition is the hunting and fishing and farming. Not just as hobbies, but as cultural practices passed down. You know, I was talking a minute ago about gardening, and you know, I could probably plant enough to feed me and my wife and maybe another adult or two throughout the year. But I'm really trying to practice where I have very little grass to cut. I'd rather have a darn mess of collard greens growing in a patch instead of mowing the grass there. I don't know where the idea of having a lawn came from, and I'm not opposed of changing it back to the day where everybody had a lush garden around their house that could provide them food. You know, planting a row of corn in one place and beans, having a little patch of beans, you know, and I'm not opposed to that at all, and I've been working on it. But this old mountain soil, you know, and my house was built 20 years ago, and I've been working on the soil in that garden of mine. Ain't no telling how much topsoil, wood chips, all kinds of organic matter I have been putting in that daggum thing over the past 8 years, and you know, the few years, you know, the 5 years previous to this year, we had a pretty good garden, but for some reason, I don't know if it was the excess amount of rain we had or my gardening practices, that I'm not sure, but it just didn't turn out as well, and I'm going to get right back on it next year. And you know, organic material is supposed to improve the drainage, and you know, I did the old no-till this year, and I might give the old no-till one more time. I may get out there with the bucket on the tractor and turn it, or get me one of them specialized rakes and turn it. But I don't want to till it. I'd like to get it turned good and deep, and I may have to get me one of them rakes that's got the big old long tines on it, and you stomp on it and you pull it back and it airs it out. I may do that this winter and get something like that going. You know, we talk about all this stuff, but if you tune in, please let's start a thing where, just like the Foxfire, and I've talked about that, getting with the Foxfire people and see if they wanted to do a live stream. I've got the equipment, I can make it happen, and put together a live stream where we can encourage people to share their grandparents' old time stories, and try and keep some of those things alive that they did in their time to survive. Not survive, but to live. You know, when you think about it, and I did it, and I watch my kids do it, and I feel bad for them sometimes, running around there like crazy. You know, you're working a day, getting the kids back and forth to school, back and forth to activities, and then you're rushing around on weekends trying to get your house in order, do repairs around the house, running back and forth to the grocery store and the other stores to get whatever provisions you need, and never a moment's rest. And that's a darn shame. they have got us caught like rats on a wheel. And and maybe it's just the old man in me talking, because I did the same thing when I was young. But I'd like to see everybody just slow down a little bit. And if somebody, hey, one other thing, I would love it if there's a bluegrass band or a gospel band. If you got a track that you'd like to let me hear and let other people hear, I would love to play that on this channel and let other people enjoy your music during these live streams. I would love to do that. And also, let's do, if somebody you know's got a birthday, let's give them a shout out. Anyway, God dog, it has gotten away from me. Remember, we're a community of, I'm going to sign it off, boys and girls. I love everybody. I wish I could be here longer. But remember, we're a community of like-minded people with common interest in hunting, fishing, protecting our community, culture, families, environments. And we're here to exchange ideas, resources, and information. Thank you as a community for showing up. And whether you're chasing deer in the hollers or setting traps by the creek or just enjoying the crisp mountain air, remember, we're blessed to call Rabun County home. And until next Thursday, keep your powder dry and your lines tight and your hearts light. And until we see each other again, as always, have a grateful day. Have a grateful week. And we'll see you next.